afternoon and welcome to one of our Agile Wittings. Little parts of knowledge around Agile agnostic techniques that we might want to consider in terms of working on our products and our services. Today we're going to be focusing on achieving goals. So let me introduce myself. I'm Jude Patterson from IT How's That. So looking back on that opening screen then, that was me gazing out into the horizon, pondering some goals to achieve. Now, this channel and area is generally all about developing products and services. It's not necessarily about sport, it's not about cycling. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be telling a little bit of a story around my own experiences of using some of the techniques we can use within probably the workplace that we might use outside of work as well. So thinking about developing our product goal or our project goal, achieving those goals. We've got those long-term goals or visions that we're working towards, and those become a bit of a guiding light. So having a think about that vision and that goal, when I was gazing out into the horizon there, my crazy goal that I had set myself in terms of cycling challenges was that even though I'm now actually over 50, at the time when I said it I was just under, I decided I had that crazy goal of wanting to become a Scottish national champion. I knew that there was an event that ran every year up in the north of Scotland, which was a road race, which was the Vets Road Race, to award the Scottish national champ for that particular year. So that was my crazy goal. Who says when you're over 40, over 50, you can't have sporting goals? But that was a bit of a crazy goal. I was a keen club cyclist, but I hadn't been, an amateur pro cyclist taking part in competition all the way through my life. So thinking about layered goals and achieving that crazy goal, you don't step out and just have that, but it is that guiding light. It's there to remind you of what you want to do. But what you need to do is break that down and set yourself some realistic goals. So perhaps not too far into the future, but choose yourself a realistic goal that you're going to work towards. Now that, thinking of my story of cycling, that could be, let's see if I can take part in and perhaps even win some of my local cycling club's events, improve my fitness so that I was better at getting up the hills. So that was one of my realistic goals. We have an event early on in the years that involves quite a lot of hills, and that was always a bit of my downside. It's a little bit heavier than I'd have liked to be to help me get up those hills. But again, how do you go and achieve that realistic goal? It was in my grounds to be able to look at achieving that, but I had to again break it down into closer term goals. Create myself, as we would do thinking about Agile. If we were using Scrum, we'd be working on sprint goals. We would be setting ourselves a 2-weekly probably cadence for our sprints, and we would be setting a 2-weekly goal. We would then be creating a sprint plan to help us work towards that. So by setting those micro goals, you can be really focused, and then at the end, during that period when you're working on it incrementally, you're trying out new things, you're able to experiment. Can I achieve that? Did it work? Do I need to adapt and change something? So thinking about cycling, some of those sprint goals were focused on things unrelated to pedaling on a bicycle. Some of them were related around nutrition. Some of them were around, helping me try and lose weight by eating more healthily, for example. Did something actually help? Changing up that diet a little bit, changing up the training sessions or the frequency that I was cycling. But those sprint goals incrementally helped me work towards a realistic goal. Once I'd achieved the first of those realistic goals, then I could think, right, what's my next almost major step, the next target, all working towards that crazy goal. And that's exactly what we aim to do when we are working in a product and a project environment. We might have a project goal, bit of a crazy goal. It might be a 6-month or a 1-year project that you're working on, but break it down. Don't plan it out in detail because you don't know how things are going to go. But what's the first realistic goal you can work towards? Thinking about developing a product, what's the first realistic goal we can go and perhaps even release that product, start getting some feedback from the users of that product that we're developing it. So hopefully you can see that setting those layered goals encourages us to be able to incrementally work towards that longer term vision for your product or your service that you're developing, that crazy goal that I set myself in terms of cycling. And thinking about that crazy goal, yes, I did achieve it last year. That's me in the centre at the top of the podium with a Scottish National Champs jersey on, having managed to achieve what was my crazy goal. So think about your goals, think about having that long-term vision, make sure you communicate it. It's your guiding light, shining down on everything that you're doing, and then set realistic goals that you can work towards, that you can capture feedback on. But again, break them down into micro goals, those shorter term, couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, that you plan perhaps in detail what you're going to be working on, and then adapt and change as you move through. So for me, achieving goals is about breaking things down, but not planning it out in detail the whole way to the end of that crazy goal. Try and be realistic, listen to feedback, learn from your experiences, and adapt and change those realistic goals as you work towards that longer term goal. So that's it from this Agile Whittings. See you all again soon. Take care. Bye now.